You're listening to the Grind Line Podcast.
What's up, and welcome to another episode of the Grind Line Podcast. I'm your host, Greg. You are listening to episode 336. I am here tonight with Nick and Trav from the Hockeytown West podcast. We're going to talk some Griffins. How you guys doing tonight?
Good. Thanks for having us on. It's been a long time since we've been back. I blame you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's fine. You can blame me. I'll take it.
Or Tyler.
You know what? Blame Tyler because he's not here. So blame him.
He never answers his emails, his calls, his texts, his DMs. I keep trying to get back on, but
He's an enigma. No one knows if he actually exists. Trav, how you doing?
I'm good. Excited to finally meet you and do this and have a good time.
I am honored. So tonight what we are going to do is we are going to talk a little bit. I'm going to call this episode Griffins Graduations, and we're going to see who is kind of the most likely, who's on that bubble to maybe graduate and play some games, maybe not just on opening night, but during the season. We're going to focus on three guys. If we got some time left over, we'll pop into maybe some dark horses. But right off rip, I want to start with, I think, who people would agree it has the best chance to make the opening night lineup for the Red Wings, and that is Nate Danielson. Nate Danielson, currently 20 years old, 6'2", 187, according to Elite Prospects. He was drafted round one, number 9 overall in 2023, and last season in 71 games played, had 12 goals, 27 assists for 39 points, and then played 3 playoff games and had a goal. We all, I think, pretty much at this point know, or what we would like Nate Danielson's ceiling to be. We would like Nate Danielson's, I've always said, like a Dylan Larkin light. That's kind of what we want Nate to be, to get into the NHL, to become kind of a 1B if he can. Maybe that lets you slide Casper to the wing. But people looked at Nate's totals for last season. They're like, is he quite there yet? And I'm not too worried about the totals, because what I've heard from literally everyone else is he does absolutely everything right on the ice.
yeah, I would agree. He we sat by his scouts, I'll say it, a lot last season, and I'm like, what are you seeing with Nate? You know, just like, what are your takes? Because I mean, these are scouts, they're way more knowledgeable than us. And they're saying just the hockey IQ. The hockey IQ on him is just insane. He's in the right places at the right time. This was his first year in the AHL, and he's played first line minutes. A lot of the time this season, he's first line with Austin Watson, and they would kind of switch up the wingers as well. But always in the right place, defensively sound. You definitely wanted to see a little bit more on the accounting stats for the offense, but I think that's going to come to it. I mean, Watson's system is very defensive oriented, so he's going to be more responsible on that end than anywhere else.
Yeah, I think like Nick said, hockey IQ is a big thing. His vision's unbelievable. That's probably the one thing. I only sat up with Nick and with Brandon the one night. Nick was actually down in the seats that night. And that was the one thing that stood out for me is his vision. His ability to just see the ice, especially on the power play. I can remember a couple plays where he'd get the puck at the top of the right circle and it's going across the ice through the seam and it's tape to tape. Like, his IQ is there. His play with the puck improved as a whole throughout the season. The biggest thing he has got to work on is faceoffs.
That's kind of surprising to me, because a couple preseasons ago, he was like, I can maybe remember him losing one faceoff in the preseason when he was with the Wings. It had to have been 2 seasons ago. And so it's gone a little bit downhill there.
Well, I think just the adjustment from junior to pro it's a big deal, right? And you're looking at faceoffs are a very big strength and leverage thing. And when you're a rookie breaking into even the American League, like, it's going to take time. He's got to grow still. It just takes a lot of reps, and you got to remember that he's still very young. And look at what they did with Marco, right? Like, when he graduated, he started on the wing before he even moved to center. So to say that he's just going to jump into a center role, like, he might start on the wing if he makes the wings. You don't know. But as a whole, I mean, great prospect. He's got a very good ceiling to work with, and he's a really good young player.
Yeah, even when you go back and look at Dylan Larkin started on the wing. That's the easiest way to break a guy into the NHL, is to, he's going to be a better defensive player. lighten that defensive load initially, let him get his feet underneath him, know what the strength is like, know what the speed is like. And to go back to the face-off thing, when we were talking, and it might have even been in an interview with Amadeus Lombardi, that was one of the big things that he said is the difference in going up against a guy in the AHL in the face-off dot is like he couldn't even move him. He said you realize just at that age and at that development level how small you are compared to the guy that you're going up against. And yeah, I could see it being a pretty big deal. But Nick, what do you think? Like watching him play all this time, what is a would you say is maybe a current good player comp, or like what do you see his kind of NHL ceiling as?
Oh man, that's a tough one. That's gonna be a question for Trav here.
Probably somewhere between a second line center to third line center to start, probably. Unless he's playing on the wing, then you're gonna have him probably higher in the lineup if he's on the wing. If he's playing down the middle, I don't know if he steps right into that second line role. To comp him, I don't love to comp people.
Neither do I. That's why I'm making you do it.
Guys get comp to Hall of Famers or elite players, and it's very difficult. Just know that you're going to get a good two-way center when and if he gets to the wings. That he is defensively responsible. There's a few things that I'd like to see if he does start in GR. Maybe not playing with guys like Austin Watson, seeing if Nate can be a line driver himself. And not have like that big presence with him, see if he can carry a line a little bit more. That'd be something for me that I think would be interesting to see, but you don't know, right? He could come in and have an unreal camp and knock the doors down. It'd be very interesting to watch.
If they're going to put him, like, I hate the player cops, and that's where I was like, this is going to be more of Travis. For me, though, it's like, I don't want him to go on the wing. Maybe start there for a few games, but you really want Nate to be that second line center. Like that's second or maybe third, because you've got Marco right there too. So maybe you slot Nate to the second and you slot Marco to the third just because of how aggressive, like he's just a little bit more of a grinder player than what Nate is. So you could see that, but it also gives you flexibility to keep Marco on the wing with the guys that he's been playing with last year. So, I mean, you've got options, which is great to have, especially with the depth and the amount of players that we have. Like you want to have that flexibility.
Yeah, with what the Red Wings signed in JVR, there are some people projecting JVR in the top 6 this season, which I really don't want to see. Like I would like them to make another move to solidify that top 6. But I think if you trust in Nate enough and you trust in him to center a line like DeBrincat and Kane with a high power offense, a really good setup guy in Kane, although Kane is a little slower, he has, and it's not like world beater talent, but Kane did improve his defense marginally last season. I saw him back check at least 3 times, so that's something. But I think if you could trust him enough, like they trusted Marco, to put him between to put him between Kane and Cat, I think that would allow you to move Casper up to that top line winger position with Larkin and Raymond, put Nate in the middle on the second line, and that may help solve your problem. Now, is that a big jump initially? Yeah, probably. It's probably a big jump just to throw that guy in. Casper was kind of worked in on the third line. Then he was moved up, played some time on the top line wing. But I think if you run out of options and you do want to shake it up, I think it's a really good way to shake it up. And I think Nate has, despite the what people are calling disappointing, I don't even think 39 and 71's disappointing point totals. Like that's a good point totals for a 20-year-old kid. I think you could try to shake it up that way, and I don't think you would lose much for it.
I think the biggest thing with Nate is like people just expected, like he had such a good run in the playoffs in junior, and then when he comes into here, he has the summer to like get strength, get stronger, get ready, and you just didn't see it right away. And it was just like it was just kind of a slow start, and then you kind of notice you're like, he's on the same point totals as Marco Casper was when he was here, and Casper had a whole season playing against men, and Nate's doing it in his first year against men. So it just the point totals were a little bit lower than what people expected, but I think with the Red Wings, people have those high expectations because we've been not so great so lately. So.
We're so sad. That's why we're just so sad. We want something to happen.
Well, and another thing to point out, like Nick kind of said it, like Nate was right there with Marco, right? Marco also had 3 years pro in Sweden in the SHL. So it's like, what do you like? Nate did this as a rookie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
It's not apples to apples when you
it's
compare
not,
the two.
but at the same time, it's almost more impressive that it's his first year in the American League. Casper coming over was already playing in pro. Now, granted, the numbers don't translate equally, but do you get what I'm saying? Like, he went down a road to put himself in a conversation with Marco when Marco had already played professional hockey. Like, that's a big, going from juniors to playing professional is a huge thing. I mean, for me down here, even seeing guys go from junior to the coast is a huge thing, let alone from junior to the American League or junior to the NHL. Just shows how much better you have to be. And one other thing with this, like, I keep seeing a lot of like Marco on the top line. Yeah, it makes sense. But at the same time, like, you drafted him in the top 10 to be a center. Like, you have 4 legit centers like on the roster right now. Now, I understand paying your 4th line center over $5 million isn't ideal, but we have 12 million to play with still. So is it really an issue? No. They can spot fill through the season with of Berggren, Soderblom, who's ever humming at that moment, just throw them up there. I think it's time to leave Marco in the middle. That's just, I wanted to point that out.
Yeah, we had talked about, I'm all for putting Elmer on the top. I think he creates just the right amount of chaos to be able to play him on a top line wing position. You don't really lose anything defensively because he has the long reach. He's got the active stick. He can poke pucks away and plays good board. I don't think you, like I said, I don't think you lose anything. And I think he's good net front presence too, because he's just so big. So I think Elmer's almost, is it playing above his position? Yes. Playing him, he is not a top line winger, but with 2 high-end talents like Larkin and like Raymond, could he be serviceable in that role? I think absolutely. And that would let you leave Marco on the second line. Now, would that make Nate a 3rd line center? Sure. But is that a bad thing? No, not at all. Breaking into the NHL, not at all. And that lets you play Cop. Like you said, do you want to pay Cop to play 4th line center? Not necessarily, but you can do it. And like, your position is not dictated by how much money you make. So.
Well, I mean, I'm also thinking like you've got Coppe and Comfer. Like,
yeah,
that could
I'd put
be your
Comfer
3-4
on the wing.
I could see that, but he is more, I think he's a better option at center than maybe Rasmussen is. So that's why. And if Nate is in GR to start, I think that's the way they go. But for Nate,
you're building a team full of centers is what you're doing. Like, if
there's worse things to do. There's worse things to do.
That's what I always said. If your whole team is centers, you've got a decently defensively respectable team. Like, Nick, anything else to add on Nate?
Nothing to add. I'm excited. I don't know. I know there's a lot of hype that he's going to make the opening night roster. I would like to see him back here in GR, not to be selfish, but just to like give him that time, just to adjust, to get the strength, and then possibly call up later.
Well, look what happened with Marco. Marco played, he missed the first 6 games of the NHL season, and then he was called up. So next player we're going to talk about is another fan. I think this is like, if you had to pick, like, if you talk to the Red Wings, people like, who's your fan favorite rookie who's like not in the NHL right now? And it has to be Ammo, friend of the show. We had him on, Amadeus Lombardi. He is 5'10", 165, according to EP. I feel like the 165 might be a little underweighting him. He was a round 4 pick in 2022 at number 113. Last season in 44 games played, had 19 goals, 21 assists for 40 points. He was injured from December 6th to February 15th, lost a lot of time. But going back and looking at his game logs post-injury, it looks like he literally didn't miss a beat. When we had talked to him, he he even told us, he's like, my first year was a little down year, but if you look at me historically, when I move leagues, it takes me a season to understand how the league works, work up to that level, and then the next season is where I work on breaking out. And it looks like he kind of did that. I mean, he had 26 points in 70 games in 2023-24 and almost a point per game in 2024-25, which is impressive. All the skill in the world, less hair, which was the shocking thing to us initially. When we had him on the show, it was like the day after he had shaved his entire head and we had to talk about it. But he's just a really exciting guy. He's got all the flash. I think as long as he works on his defensive skill, I think he's a middle six winger, or bottom six winger in the NHL.
Yeah, good friend of the show on ours too. We've had him on here twice on ours, and if you've tuned into us, like, we love him. We went out to Flint when he was playing at Flint, and I was watching him there. So unbelievable talent. This year was kind of different for him. Like, we had a lot of injuries. We had a lot of injuries on the forward side. So he took and we had a lot of call-ups that we had to deal with you guys taking from us. So we were short a lot of the games, and it kind of felt like he was putting the team on his shoulder. Like, he was kind of pushing a little bit more for some offense at times, and kind of give it up a little bit on the defensive end. So you kind of want to see, I mean, goals, assists were just absolutely crazy this year for him from what he had the year prior. So just like you had said, like, just that second year increasing. The thing on him now is just being responsible on the back end now too. After that injury, like, he did take some time off, and after the injury, they did switch him over to a wing. So in that time, his numbers for center and for wing were about the same. Like, he didn't lose anything.
That's really good.
Yeah, like the first couple games, he looked a little out of place. We joked with him after game about it. He's like, yeah, just trying to get used to, the positioning since he's played center for so long. So he will do well on either route. I think Trav and I have talked about it, his path probably to the NHL is probably going to be on the wing. And he just needs to bulk up a little bit, get that strength. Face-offs, I think that's a whole thing for this team. We don't get the stats here for the AHL for face-offs, so it's a little bit tougher, but it did seem like we were losing a lot. And that's not just on our centers, that's also on our wingers, on our D2 to be able to pick up the puck. So
Ammo's interesting, man. Like, you look at year one, not a ton of points, right? And then this year he has like this huge breakout season. Let's be real. I mean, Nick, you can even say it. He was a game breaker for the Griffins. Like, he was the guy this year for the Griffins. He basically took over what Berggren did. What was it? As far as a game breaker, Nick, he was the guy. Like, he was the offensive juggernaut of the team this year.
He was, but
like,
Bergie was
a younger
better.
guy. No, he was, and I'll give you that. But if you look at like the jump that he made, like, it was like super impressive.
Most noticeable difference,
I think, just confidence, I would say. I didn't get to watch a lot of the Griffins his first year. I kind of joined the guys late in that year. And just an expanded role, I would say, when you, Nick, like, just he took on more. Granted, he got hurt, but the skill is unbelievable for a fourth round talent. Like, yeah, middle six winger for sure. I think you could see, how long does it take him to get there? Could he be a guy that has a huge camp? You really never know.
Yeah, I think I had said the same thing. I think in the NHL, he's probably a winger. I think it's just at that point, I think it's just a size thing and he's got the thing is too, is he's got the speed, and he can use that speed to his advantage. What I have seen is what does he do when he's away from the puck? And I think that's he's got to be a little faster at finding the open ice, because once he has the puck on his stick, I mean, he's an immediate threat. It's like at the AHL level, like Lucas Raymond NHL level kind of threat offensively. But what does he do when he doesn't have the puck is I think where you got to bring that up a little bit. Is he trying to always find the open ice? Is he trying to always make moves or get towards the net? And like you said, middle six, could he have a great camp? Sure. Could he come in and bust the doors down and they say, we do like Soderblom in the top six, and now we need to find a fill-in on the bottom? Because I mean, they have a full roster now, but could they trade Bergie between now and then? Could they package him with conference, send it out, and then you lose two forwards? So Yzerman always says, don't let a full roster be a blocker. Don't look at it like there's no room for guys. And I think Ammo, he's one of the guys that his mindset is a lot like, I feel like Larkin's, like, I can always be better. Or like Casper, I had a great game, but I look at my tape and what could I have done better in these situations? And he's always working on it, which I think is one of the more exciting things for him.
I know when we talked with him too, like while he was injured, he was in talks with Dylan Larkin of like, what can I do? Like, how can I get better? Like things like that. Even when he was off, like I caught him on TV. He was snipping behind Trevor Thompson. So he was there trying to like recover with the Detroit organization. So I wouldn't be too surprised if he did get the call up sooner than, not having the whole year in GR and getting a call up at some point throughout the season.
Cool. We're going to take a quick break. Be back. Word from our sponsors. We got another player to talk about, and then we'll see if we can fit another one in. So give us a quick second. We'll be right back. During our quick break, I just want to tell everyone about something that's totally changed my mornings. Strong Coffee Company. If you're like me, you love your coffee, but you also want it to actually do something for you. This is the upgrade you've been looking for. Strong Coffee isn't your average cup of joe. It's an all-in-one instant blend made for people who care about their health and performance. You're getting 15 grams of grass-fed protein, 5 grams of MCTs for long-lasting energy, and adaptogens like ashwagandha and L-theanine to help you stay calm, focused, and productive without the jitters or crash. The black blend is bold and smooth, made from organic fair trade Arabica beans, and their lattes, they've got collagen, hyaluronic acid, healthy fats, the works. It tastes amazing and helps you feel sharper, sleep better, and just show up as your best self every day. And on top of all that, they're eco-friendly too, so you can feel good about what you're putting in your body and how it's made. Check them out at strongcoffeecompany.com and use our code GRINDLINE, that's strongcoffeecompany.com, promo code GRINDLINE at checkout for 20% off. That's GRINDLINE for 20% off your order. Give it a shot. I think you're going to love it. And we're back, and we are going to talk about the name that is actually like everyone throws into trade talks. So maybe it's not, will he make the Red Wings, but will he still be in the organization? And that is William Wallinder. William Wallinder is 6 foot, 490-pound left shot defenseman. He is 23, was drafted in 2020, round 2, number 32 overall. Last season, he had 19 points, 2 goals, 17 assists in 62 games. And every time you hear Dan Cleary talk about him, he's like, he's so smart. He's always learning and he's got all the tools. And I remember on draft day, they're like, yes, he's got all the tools, but like, can he put them together? Can he get all those tools and put them in a box and like play up to his ability? And it just seemed like you watch and you go, every time I've watched him, like, it's a bit underwhelming.
Yeah, I was super excited about this guy coming over from Sweden. He was one of the, like, Mo had won the SHL Defensive Player of the Year award, and then Edvinsson got it, and then Wallinder got it right after, and then I can't remember who. So it was just like, okay, like, this is the expectation. This guy's going to come in. He's going to make the NHL. Super excited. His skating was fantastic. It was phenomenal when he was here, when he first got here. And now, like, this was a guy that me and Brandon were both pumped up about last summer. We're like, okay, like Simon's been promoted. Albert Johansson's been promoted. Like, this guy's going to be the next guy coming in, like, super pumped. We even asked Dan Watson, hey, who should we be watching? He goes, Antti Tuomisto and William Wallinder. They're going to be our number one pairing defense. This is going to be a big year for them. We're like, cool. This is who we had as well. So we're on the same page as coach. Let's go. And it was underwhelming, like you said. The issue that we see with him is it's so tough for him to keep the puck in the zone on the power play. So it was just crushing. Every time it would go around the boards, it would pop over his stick. And then we're going back into the neutral zone and try to get it back out of the neutral into the offensive zone. So that was the big problem. So I don't know if it was just a confidence thing with him, if he just wasn't comfortable with his defensive partner, Antti Tuomisto, throughout the season. They were paired together for a big portion of it until after, I think, about the trade deadline and Steve Yzerman's press conference. And he had called out Tuo. And at that point, they had split the two. You saw a little bit of an increase there, but you wondered, like, how much did one affect the other? So it'll be interesting to see what the defensive pairings are for this year. And they have to have a big year because this is year 3 in the AHL for both of them. On top of that, it's like, they get promoted from the third line to the second line. Now they're playing top opponents every night. And if you're not getting help from your forwards, it's just tougher on the defense. So there was a lot going on for them to adjust. So I'm giving them another try for next year.
Yeah, the biggest thing, like Nick said, is just the ability to hold the puck in. We talked about that a lot last year.
Pretty crucial.
Yeah. And some of it's bad bounces, but some of it too is like, okay, like got to see improvement there. And it's just one of those things, right? He's just got to figure it out. And I think if he can figure it out, there's definitely potential there. But at the same time, he's like Nick said, he's a good skater. Seems positionally, he's in the right spot most nights, most times. I think it's just getting comfortable with a partner. And it seemed like last year there was a plan, but maybe the plan didn't go to what they figured it would. So it's just tough, right? Like you're hoping that this is the year that he kind of puts all the tools together, as you said. But the biggest one is keeping the puck in.
Has has the excitement for him been replaced by excitement for Anton Johansson?
I
I would
think that
say, yeah, go ahead, Trev.
I think that's all been replaced by Axel Sandin Pellikka.
Well, yeah, I mean that set the Axel Sandin Pellikka aside because
Well,
I'm not going to talk about him in this one because I I'm almost certain he's going to start with Grand Rapids just because they're going to let him feel it out a little bit more. But Anton Johansson, when he came over, he was killer.
Yeah, I was so stoked for Anton Johansson. This is a guy that's been on my radar for a couple of years just through the World Juniors. And I was stoked. And then I started to lose grasp because he just signed with the team overseas. And I'm like, oh, he's never coming over. And then all of a sudden their season ended and they're like, hey, Anton's here. And I'm like, stoked because this is just another guy that we can have. He's huge. He's physical. The problem he has is just gap control. And he struggled with it overseas. He got it tuned in, and then when he comes over here, bigger sheet of ice. So now he's trying to recalibrate that again. But I don't think we're on the right defenseman here. I think the guy that's overshadowed everybody is Shai Buyam.
He goes back and forth for me. So he's another guy that gets thrown into trade talks a lot. And they're like, well, because we've got defensemen, like we said, we got Wallinder, we've got Anton Johansson, we've got ASP, we've got Shai Buyam, we've got guys that are available. But did Shai really take in his time that he's been there really said like, yeah, I'm ready to like move to the play NHL games this season?
Not yet. I would say one more season. Shai looked so good about middle of the season. He really got his legs under him, and they put him on power play. So he was quarterbacking the power play. His passing is fantastic. His vision is good. Like this is the guy that I was like, okay, this is the new guy for a defense before Axel. So I'm like, this is the guy. He's going to do so well with us. He did hit the wall because he came from college, a lot less games. Then he goes to the AHL, and it's a lot more games, a lot back to back. And so he did struggle near the end of the season. But I think just the way his confidence with the puck, his vision, his passing, like he's there. I think one more year, I think then he could maybe get moved up if he doesn't get traded.
Yeah, I think for his first full season in the AHL, 25 points in 67 games for a defenseman. What he has is the size. He's 6'3", 220. He's a big kid at 22 years old, and he was a second round pick too. People keep saying where Yzerman's great at these first round picks. Where are all the second round picks? This is a kid that, I mean, he can move. He's mobile. He's got good passing. Shai, like you said, though, that was his first season, his first full season in the AHL. So, I mean, it'll be pretty crazy to watch him play with ASP. I think that'll be pretty insane. Like you guys are going to have a really good defensive group until we start picking people away, I think.
Yeah, can you not this year? We thought we had colder hopes last year. We get bounced so early. So we're hoping this is our year. We go a little bit further. But yeah, I'm super excited. That matchup makes sense too in my head. So but Trav's the matchup guy.
Yeah, it's too early to say who's playing with who. Like, yeah, it'd be cool to see them two together. Like, I think you're going to see a lot of variations this year. Like, I don't think they're going to sit around and try to make something work like last year. They're going to try to figure it out quicker. And with Shai, he closed the gap quickly on Wallinder, I think, much quicker than maybe a lot of people anticipated. But again, it's like, can these guys take another step? Like that's the next part of the process is take that next step, become like not necessarily a game breaker, but be that guy. Like they need guys to take that next step. And that's kind of where this whole rebuild's like kind of hit such a lull at times, is because, yeah, we have all these great prospects, but they haven't gone as quickly to hitting that next level as people thought they would. And it's just, it takes time, and patience is running out for some people. And I can understand it because it can be frustrating. But again, these are young players learning the professional game. It's not an easy task.
Well, if we want to talk about improvement through levels, and I think this is where we'll end the show tonight. And Travis, probably a good one for you. Sebastian Kosa. So Sebastian played in Toledo. He plays in Grand Rapids. He played a game in the NHL. People are chomping at the bit to just rush a goalie through the system. I've always held that it's not a good idea. You make sure that goalie is 100% at the level he's at before you try to jump him to a new one. And with the signing of Gibson, I think there's close to a zero. I'll never say there is zero chance, but there's as close to a 0% chance as possible that Kosa starts with the Red Wings. But what have you really seen between him in Toledo, then him move to Grand Rapids and kind of move? Now, I know last season he kind of fell off toward the end. His game slipped a little bit toward the end of the season. But do you still have confidence in someone like a Sebastian Kosa to be able to make that progression, to know what he needs to do to be a starter in the NHL in the next 3 or so seasons?
I'm not concerned at all. Like, I'm really not. Nick's laughing. And because I've seen it, like I seen super raw, fresh out of junior, that you've seen flashes in the beginning of his first year in the ECHL where you've seen flashes, but it wasn't great every night. And then by March of that year, he's on a 10-game win streak with like a .70 goals against average. The skill is there. The talent is there. Again, it takes time, and goalies take even longer.
Yes.
And he took a weird path because he was clearly too good to play in junior. He needed to play pro. He wasn't quite ready for the American League. He learned that first year down here. And look at his first year in GR. It wasn't great initially, but at the back half of that year, it clicked. That carried over to last season. He was super good to start. Then the team in front of him just like took a nosedive. And when the team in front of you is not playing well, it makes it a lot harder on a goaltender when the team in front of you is giving up high danger chance after high danger chance. Yeah, the playoffs this year weren't great. I get it, but long game with this guy, I still think is the play. You've seen him come in a situation that he got thrown to the wolves last year, and it didn't start great for him. But once he got his feet underneath him, he was relatively good for the Red Wings in that game in Buffalo. Like,
Oh, yeah, he got locked in.
Yeah, I remember it went to the shootout, and I looked at my wife and I was like, this is the worst case scenario imaginable for a young goaltender. You come in a game where the team just laid an egg in the first period. You give up two, I think, right, pretty early. And then it was like, this is the worst possible situation. Then it goes to a shootout, and he was unbelievable. And I think he's going to see games this year in Detroit. I with the two goalies that we have in Detroit, you see the injury bug's been around a time or two before with both of them. I think he will get games. I think it's time to maybe see him in a 5-10 game trial. He's going to probably have to start a few games like that, but it's strategically starting guys. And if you go back, like Nick remembers when we talked with Ace, how important it is to have like strategically starting young goaltenders. Like, look at Wallstead, the guy that he's comped to.
Yeah.
His first game, he's on the shelf for 7 in Dallas. Like, who in their right mind is going to start a rookie on the road in Dallas? The only reason Kosa went into that game is because they didn't really have much choice. Like, it was so horrendously bad that, like, okay, let's see what you got. I mean, like, I'm not overly concerned. I think if he has a big summer, like, he had a great camp last year. And the red white game, I was like, wow, this guy's unbelievable. And just his maturity, the way he plays, he doesn't swim around anymore. He's way more structured within himself. And when he's feeling it, man, he is very tough to score on.
Yeah, he's super swaggy kind of player. He's very, very self-confident. One of the goalies that I think if chirps like a forward for a goalie, which is pretty interesting. Nick, do you think his second half kind of struggles may have been because we were poaching players?
Yeah, I mean, that had a lot to do with it. But it also didn't help too, is like we had 3 goalies down here. We had Billy, we had Campbell, and we had Coast. So like that's cutting into his time, his reps. So I think that hurt. We're rotating, we don't have enough forwards nights. We're rotating through defense. Like we're a very defensive heavy organization. So I think that all affected him. I mean, I think the plan last year was for him to get games up there with Detroit, to get like maybe 5, maybe 10. But like Travis's point, you have to strategically put him in like against the weaker teams to be able to build his confidence. I mean, when he's locked in, he's locked in. That last game for the playoffs, he was locked in. He had one bad play, but besides that, that was the best I've ever seen Sebastian Cossa play. And I mean, I've only been following him for like Travis been able to sit front row for the last 3 years with him, but I mean, he looked fantastic.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get him some games this year against Chicago or an Anaheim or someone like that. Give him some easy games, ease him in, and let him get his confidence up. But I want to thank you guys for coming on tonight. Great show, great perspective on the juniors. A lot of people don't get to watch, but find stuff like this extremely valuable just to keep up. Where can we find you guys? Where can they find your show? What do you guys got going on?
Yeah, so we are on every platform you could think of. I think Threads is probably the one we don't update the most, but we're on TikTok, Hockeytown West Pod, Hockeytown W Pod, Twitter, YouTube, Apple. I mean, you name it, we're on there. We follow right now. It's Toledo Walleye, I feel like they just finished up their season because they got all the way to the finals. And then we follow we follow Grand Rapids Griffins as well. So usually, after game interviews, post-game interviews. We're doing highlights throughout the season. So if you want your information on, prospects, we're the guys.
What's Twitter handle?
Hockeytown W Pod. Mine's GR Hockey Guy.
Trav?
Mine's Trav in T-Town for everything.
Awesome. You can find me online at Bringing the Wing, Grindline Podcast online, Grindline Pod. Thank the Hockey Podcast Network for hosting us and spreading us around. Vintage Detroit, which is the only place you get your Detroit jerseys from, and Workdown, where we have an exclusive t-shirt collection if you're watching on YouTube. This is one of them, the Todd Father, really good. But if you go there, click the Keep It Local tab, click the Grindline Podcast, you'll find all our stuff there. And you can go sub to us on YouTube. Search Grindline Podcast, turn on notifications, you'll be notified whenever an episode goes live. But again, thank you guys for coming on. It's always awesome talking, and you stay classy, Hockeytown.